Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Marvel United unboxing. This is for the witching hours. So this is kind of an interesting special set. So this came out during this last year's Comic-Cons and various conventions. And what it does is it brings together 4 previously convention exclusive characters, or other exclusive characters that weren't part of the crowdfunding campaigns, as well as 2 brand new characters. There's Scarlet Witch and Agatha, of course, playing off the very popular TV shows from Disney Plus. So this will be hitting. I've got an earlier copy. I paid to get like an earlier shipment, which is leftover stuff from the conventions, and they will be putting up for sale later on. I do not have a date. So if you're wondering, hey, how do I get this? Just keep an eye out for Amazon or CMON's website. Check out their stuff, and they'll hopefully announce when they're available. So what's cool about this is that if you didn't pick up the previously 4 characters, Mr. Sinister, Deadpool, Hulk, Grey Hulk, or Juggernaut, you get them available here without having to pay the atrociously high prices for eBay or having to go through. Or if you missed not buying them through other Kickstarter promo things, they were available through the Dice Tower, but they're kind of expensive if you're just looking for those and you didn't want the other promos. Promos per the entire thing were justifiable, but for one thing it was a little bit high cost. So I've already done videos for those 4, but I am going to review all 4 of them in this video, just in case people haven't checked them out, so you know what you're getting in this box. And then we'll do the new characters at the end. So there's a couple of interesting other cool things in here. Is that we're also getting the miniatures for them. So when you got the convention promos, you only got the decks. Because they're assuming that you'd already purchased the characters. What it makes this is a really nice additional buys, because even if for some reason you hadn't picked up those ones before and you decided not to ever, now if you want to pick them up, if you hadn't picked up the various other 4 sets that these characters were in, because they were in 4 different sets, you can now get them and play them with any set. So even if you just started with the Marvel, you just picked up the core set for Marvel United, or you picked up the Spider-Geddon set and you're picking up one of the core sets and you can pick this up, you got a bunch of new characters to play as. So it's really cool there as well. So that's really neat. The one other thing I do want to mention just ahead of time before we hop into this is the downside for people that back the Kickstarter stuff. If you got the cardboard enemy trays, or enemy dashboards, these are not the cardboard ones. These are the standard ones. They did not include the cardboard or make them. They have yet to mention if they're going to make them available somewhere else. So that might be the only thing that's kind of odd, because you'll have all these ones, like you're like me, you have 3 seasons worth of games. And now you have these two cardboards that are 2 character sheets that don't have cardboard. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into this and see what we have. So let's start with the first one that came out. We're going to look at good old Grey Hulk. So what is neat about this is they actually painted him. They made him into a gray miniature for whatever reason, instead of the typical blue for a hero. I don't know if they just did this just so I think they did this in the idea of if someone wants to play as Hulk and someone wants to play as Grey Hulk, you can have 2 different miniatures out and you're not getting the 2 blue ones confused. If you paint miniatures, even better, because now if you painted him, it wouldn't matter if he was blue, because you would have repainted him anyhow. But at least now then you can have the 2 different Hulks play as 2 different characters, much like we have multiple versions of Wolverine or Cyclops, or Magic and so on and so forth, Captain America's, Iron Man's. You could have the same characters as long as they have different decks. This just gives you the option to also play him as a separate one, which before he just had to be an alternate Hulk. Otherwise the pose and everything is the exact same, they just made him gray. So let's go ahead and I'm going to drop my camera down here and let's take a look at his deck. So he does have some modified cards that make him a little bit different than the regular Hulk, which is really nice. So this kind of plays on 2 different versions of the Grey Hulk. So if you're familiar lore-wise with the Hulk turning into a rage monster, The Grey Hulk is either the original version, which was basically even kind of, I don't want to say dumber Hulk, but more simple-minded. He was more just kind of like he turned into the Hulk at night and stuff like this. But I think they're playing more on this as being like the Joe Fixit Hulk, which is like the Brainiac Hulk. But not like the super scientist version. He was the one that went to Las Vegas, used as a pinstripe suit. They didn't like remake all his artwork and all that. They kept the same artwork. We will actually, you have one picture of him here. So you have Joe Fixit Hulk here in the pinstripe suit, where he actually goes to Vegas and becomes a bodyguard. So he's like street smart, but he's not like genius brilliant smart. That's the kind of Hulk we're getting here. So we have our starting hand card. We get to start with Growing Rage. So it says, as long as this card is face up in the storyline, for each damage you take during a villain turn, you may gain 1 attack token, and then this is a wild. So that's nice. So basically, start of the game, every time you take hits, you gain extra hits back. So, ain't nothing wrong with that. Then we just have his regular cards. There's the back of his cards. We didn't look at those. They're going to have the gray with the blue pants instead of the green with the purple pants. Yeah, so here's his pinstripe version. Outsmart. The next master plan card is revealed. You may put it on the bottom and draw another one instead. So that's kind of cool to be able to have the ability to like mess with the master plan. And then we have another special card. We have Superhuman Stamina. As long as this card is face up on the storyline, you start your turn with only 1 card in your hand. You may draw 2 cards during your draw step. So it's like Regeneration, which a lot of characters have, but just have always going to redraw up to 3 cards. It only works if he's down to 1 card, so he has to be on his lowest to gain a boost back up. And then he has Controlled Strength, so he gets double hit in your location. So like the original Green Hulk had the ability to smash everything in your location, but it would take out everybody, civilians, anyone who was in the area. So this one, he just could go lots of extra damage. Just do a little bit less damage. So I think the other one did 3. This one does less, but he doesn't take out all the civilians with it. Then we have just a standard deck. So he has in a movement card, move heroic, move attack, attack, heroic, double attack, his wild, and his double wild. So that is pretty fun. So a little bit different take on the Hulk, without changing him up too terribly much. So he's still the Hulk. Awesome. Alright, our next character is the Juggernaut, Kane Marco. So this one still has the blue miniature. I shouldn't say still has a blue miniature. This one gained a blue miniature because the original one would have been red, because the original one was just a villain deck. So they made a hero version. So this is the other reason why they made this. So this way, so now again you could technically play Hero Juggernaut versus Villain Juggernaut if you'd like to. But this way, that way, if you put them on the table, just even if you're not doing that, if you want to play Juggernaut, you can grab the blue miniature instead, so that you know that he's a hero character and not getting him confused. Again, unless you paint him, then it doesn't matter. I myself, when I paint him, because I'll have like the gray Hulk will be different than the green Hulk, I'll probably paint him maybe in like his black outfit, just to give him like a differentiating look. And I can use either one if I want. So he also has a starting card. So starting hand card. So he has Protect the Weaklings. As long as this card is face up in your storyline, each time one civilian in your location is about to be discarded, you may take 1 damage to prevent it. So he can like step in and take damage for other people. So this kind of like interesting comparison to the Hulk, where the Hulk takes damage, he just to do more damage. The Hulk instead, just to help protect civilians. Then he has some special powers. He has 2 copies of Juggernaut armor. You cannot take any damage to the beginning of your next turn, and they have wild, so just to prevent some damage. He has Double Agent Juggernaut. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, during your turn, if you enter a location with a henchman, you may reveal the top card of the master plan. So if he gets in a spot with another villain character, he can kind of be like, hey, what's the boss planning next? And then they'll be like, oh, they're going to do this, because we're all buddies and we'll chit-chat. And he'll be like, hey, X-Men, this is what they're going to do. So it's kind of fun. Again, it kind of also, like, because they came out at the same time as the Hulk, it kind of almost mirrors his abilities to that extent, where the Hulk got the ability to look at the master plan and switch it. He at least has a more of an opportunity, because he can do this multiple times, to at least see what's coming up. You can't adjust for it, but you can plan for it. So it's kind of fun. Then he has 2 more special cards. He has 2 copies of Charge. Move, then attack. It makes sense for the Juggernaut. He gets to move around, and he gets to attack. Now, they could have made some special, crazy, extra thing. It says every time he moves, he attacks each area he moved through. That would have been a neat idea, or that could have been a cool stayed and played card. But they did it that way, which is alright. Alright, so then he has his basic cards. He has a move attack, a move attack, a move heroic. Of course, he's going to watch a movement. It's Juggernaut. Heroic, and then his wild and his double wild. And then the Hulk would have came in the original Hulk. Again, these are the con versions, but the original Hulk would have been in the core Avengers set, the first year, and Juggernaut would have been in the villain set for the original core X-Men. So that's where you would have gotten those 2 originally if you didn't have them. Then our third character that came up was Mr. Sinister. So we got a hero version of Mr. Sinister, which is pretty crazy to think about. You don't often think of it as a Mr. Sinister, but I think he kind of falls in line with what they did with Apocalypse, and to an extent Magneto. It's during the Krakoan age of X-Men, which is one of the more recent comic book big stories. Is he was actually working with all the heroes. He always had his own side projects going on too, because he's Mr. Sinister. But he was trying to help, giving him DNA so they could use the resurrection protocols. So, yeah, kind of like he'll help. He's one of the village, like, if it fits his need, he'll help. And that's what he did. He did it to get his no advantage. So we did a hero version of him. So we have a blue version, just to stand out from it being the red version from the villain. Again, you could have Mr. Sinister versus Mr. Sinister, which would make more sense than Juggernaut versus Juggernaut, just in the fact that Mr. Sinister has 1,000 clones out there, so you could usually be like, hey, one of his clones is trying to take over, and you're the real Mr. Sinister trying to be like, hey, I'm not dealing with that. Alright, so then he has a starting hand card as well. And his original character, his villain version, would be part of, it was X-Men Gold Team, I believe. It might have been Blue Team. Blue Team or Gold Team was one of those 2 box sets. So here's the only thing with his, is if you don't own the villain version, you're not going to have his tokens that he needs. So it says here, Master Geneticist. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, you end your turn on location with any other hero, you may place 1 DNA token on one side of their face-up card in the storyline with no DNA token. So you don't get any of the DNA tokens in this box. They didn't double them up. So if you don't own it, you'll just have to use like a penny or something else to represent, draw a card or something. But yeah, this is his whole thing. He's going to place DNA tokens on one of their face-up cards in the storyline with no DNA tokens. So he's going to co-opt a card that's been played. And then he's going to have his special cards. So he has 3 copies of Secret Agenda. It says, remove 1 DNA token from a face-up hero card to use its special effect. Then turn it face down. If the heroes win this turn, only you win, the other players lose. So this is kind of his funny gimmick on him. So he gets really 2 cool things. One is the option, he can reuse any character's ability at least once. As long as it's face down. Or as long as it's face up, he can flip it face down. So he gets to basically any other character, he can go through and play. So he has to have his other card, he has to land on and play him. It's just a little bit of setup for it. But you could plan some interesting, cool combos with that. Then the second part's kind of the fun thing is, if you play that ability and use it to win the game, he specifically wins. He manipulated the heroes and their abilities to win the game, and then he still wins. The other players all lose. So it's kind of like a little mini trader aspect, except you know that it's going to be coming. Then he has 3 more copies of Master Manipulator. Choose any other hero. On their next turn, you choose the card they will play in the storyline, even if they had to play it randomly. So, again, this is that fun little, like, you're working with your team to win, but you're also kind of playing against them because you do what works best for you. It's kind of a fun little mechanic. So you're kind of playing a trader that's a known trader. Like, people know that you're going to be manipulating them, and you're trying to play the game to use their abilities to put you in to win against them. But you still got to work on beating your goal, because if you don't win, you don't win. So it's a fun little extra mechanic to the game. But it's even nice if you want to play as a thing. If you know your opponent hits with something that's random, this would be a fun card to be able to play, so you can be like, hey, I can stop that randomness for a turn. You know, so that's a cool idea as well. It's also neat on the bottom of all these, he just has wilds. So he just, not multiple icons, but at least they're all wilds. Then his standard, he has move heroic, move attack, heroic attack, and then his wild and double wild. So he's just kind of like getting to do whatever he kind of wants to do. Alright, our fourth character, our final regular promo character, or convention promo, was X-Force Deadpool. This is his gray and black outfit when he joined Wolverine's covert assassin-ish team of with Domino, Phantom X, Archangel, and then there's a couple other guys. Those are the main ones, and then Wolverine, Thunderbolt, and Pharaoh were part of it for a while. So is Psylocke. Yeah, so they had some interesting guys. So it's kind of like the assassin team. So this is fun. And if you get the campaign cards, you gotta use that. So we do get him in there. So they again made him gray, so that way he can stand out from his red version. He's got like a Magneto helmet on there, a Weapon X helmet, a Wolverine mask, bunch of guns. Who is that helmet right there? Is that... I'm not sure. I want to say maybe that was supposed to be maybe like Maverick. Only like this guy right there. I don't recognize that one right off the top of my head. Surprised he doesn't have like a metal arm though for Cable like laying there. But yeah, so here's the X-Force version. So we get another sword. So yeah, you can, again, if you paint these now, you could have one with the red costume, one with the red and black, one with the gray and black costume. So cool. Alright, then he has some starting cards. So he has the first one here. He has Regenerative Healing Factor. As long as this card's face up in the storyline, if you have less than 3 cards in your hand at the end of your villain turn, you may draw 1 card. So now it's a little bit more powerful, a little bit better than Hulk's, a little bit worse. Because the Hulk, again, if he got down to 1 card, he got to draw 2. Here you only just draw 1, but he only has to have less than 1 card to do it. So he gets a card more often. He has another starting card, which says Improved Resistance to Everything. Until the beginning of your next turn, any special effects on Master Plan cards have been played. Master cards played have no effect on Deadpool. So he gets to ignore some stuff there. Then he has 2 non-optional cards. So when you play these, you have to do these. Totally unpredictable. On your next turn, you must play your hero card randomly. It's kind of fun that it kind of works with that. He came out at the same time as Mr. Sinister. We saw Hulk and Juggernaut had some parallels. Mr. Sinister has the ability to like kind of negate that randomness. Oh, here we have Deadpool, who has to play randomly. So they could kind of work a little bit together to negate some of these downsides. He has 2 more special cards, Fighting Through Pain. Gain 1 attack token. You may ignore 1 damage until the beginning of your next turn. And he has 2 more attack card, 2 more copies. He has Bia might be in danger. Rescue 1 civilian in your location. And then he has 2 copies of Maximum Firepower. Double attack against a single card in your location, and double attack against a different target there. So this takes out whatever's in that area. Then he has a wild and a double wild. He has no basic cards. All his cards are special. And they do have these characters as well mentioned in the campaigns, or campaign decks, and as well as the team decks. So they were all included in there. So like, if you have them, you might have these extra characters you can add into those. So those are our 4 old Comic-Con characters. So now we're going to hop into the brand new stuff. So hopefully you're stuck with us, or at least you jumped this far into the video if you wanted to sit. So we're going to look at our first character. We have an anti-hero in Agatha Harkness. So the Supreme Witch. So she's going to be in purple, because of course she's an anti-hero. She needs to play as both a hero and we have a villain version. But look at the hero version first. So here she's casting a magical spell. She has her little cat, whose name I can't remember. And she has a spell book on the floor. Now, I do love the little spell ball in her hand. I wish more characters had things like that. I wish, like, Doctor Strange or some of the Human Torch, other of the characters had, maybe not Human Torch, because he's already colored red, but Dazzler and some of the other characters, wish they had little effects like that were sticking off them. I think they would have looked much cooler. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and look at what Agatha does for us as a hero. So she's going to get a starting hand card. She has Mystical Protection. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, you can't be forced to play your cards randomly. So we got another kind of little interesting thing there. So she also has a move and heroic. And then she has some spells that go with the rest of her cards. She's Binding. A villain in your location has their movement set to 0 on the next villain turn. Ooh, so that's kind of fun. So you land in the same spot, you can trap them. Moving heroic for that one. She gets Electrokinesis. Double attack against a single target in an adjacent location with a move. Purification. A hero in your location discards all crisis tokens they have. Just did some fun abilities, but you kind of have to be in certain spots to use them. Dimensional Manipulation. If you're not in the villain's starting location, replace your location with any other not in play. Move everything from your location to the new one. Oh, that's kind of fun. So you can't change the starting location for the villains, only because some of them rely on that for their mastermind or their different effects. But that's kind of neat. You can swap out other locations in the game. We have Hydrokinesis. Move a villain, hero, or water token anywhere to a location adjacent to them. That is neat. I also love the fact it's move a water token. She doesn't produce water tokens, but the fact you can move them around is kind of cool. Pyrokinesis. Attack in each adjacent location. She's got one, she can double attack in one, or this one she can attack one in either. She has Aerokinesis. Relocate or discard up to a total of 3 civilians and or thugs between your and adjacent locations. So that's pretty fun. She also gets a force field. During your next villain turn, heroes in your location can't take any damage. And there's our cat, Ebony, that's its name. Attack against 2 different targets in adjacent locations. So yeah, Ebony gets to move around a little bit more. And then she has her double wild and her wild. So she has no generic cards, all special stuff. But then she also gets the Darkhold item card. She says, use on your turn, reveal the top card of any deck, then turn this face down. So it's like a quick one-time to see what's coming up, and then you have to recharge it. But any decks, this could help you plan for your teams, or with the Mastermind deck, or if there's any other side decks they might have. Some of the other modes have like the Population deck, or things like that. And so to recharge, at the beginning of your turn, discard 1 civilian or thug token from the corresponding mission, if not yet complete, to turn this face up. So you can sacrifice someone off your mission to recharge it. So maybe if you really need to see what's coming up, you might be able to sacrifice it. Might not even be a terrible thing if oh, okay, hey, we need to take out, we're going to take out, we have 1 thug spot left, and we're going to take out 2 in this location. I have a double attack, I'm going to take out both. Someone's like, hey, let me discard 1 of these, recharge my Darkhold, and then you can take out both, and then one's not wasted. So it's kind of a fun little mechanic there. I like the idea, though, of some of these item cards, equipment cards, to be able to be, even though it specifically says for that character, some of them have to be like Thor or Magic because they're looking for items in their deck. I think some of them just be transferred to anybody. You could give this to just about anybody, but maybe make the penalty a little bit harder. I think you have to discard one of your wild cards. I don't remember if it's a single or the double. I'd say maybe if you're giving it to a non-other character, maybe make the penalty a little bit harsher if you're using something they don't know. Or it doesn't matter, just mix and match how you'd like. Alright, so then we'll look at her villain side. So it's going to use the same miniature, so I'm obviously not going to pull that back out. But she has some interesting stuff here. So she has special setup. Place the witch trial mission within reach of the players. Place all ruined threat cards with the A side. And then set the Witch Hunt Begins master plan card and place it on top of the deck after shuffling. If you're playing as a supervillain, they get double move, double heroics. So she's going to have a couple of interesting things here. So before I even look at her other side, we're going to look at this. She has the Witch Trial card. Again, I don't think you're going to get a copy of this as a cardboard, unfortunately. But there's the Witch Trial. So she has a bunch of civilians. We have 6 of them that are non-colored. We have 5 of them that are a pink. And we have 1 that's like a dark purple. So interesting. We'll see how that works when that comes up. So for her health, she only has, per player, she has 2 health. So she's not very strong, but of course she's not meant to be. Her abilities, so special rules. When Agatha Harkness becomes under pressure, flip all ruined threats to their B side. For each damage Agatha Harkness is dealt, check the Witch Trial mission. If there are 7 or more civilians there, remove 1 civilian card from there instead of removing 1 health from her token. So if she gets cards on her Witch Trial, she starts taking damage. She can sacrifice them instead of taking damage. Each time a hero is tailed, Agatha doesn't activate her ban. Instead, adds 1 civilian token to the pool, from the pool to the Witch Trial. Okay, so that's one way we get him there. If she gets a ban, move 1 civilian from Agatha Harkness' location, and each occasion location to the Witch Trial mission. Activate the ruined threats with the symbols matching those on the master plan card. Okay? So she's got special ruins that activate around her board. Her threat cards will activate depending on what master plan cards you have out. And then she's going to keep putting civilians on here, which basically give her extra health. Yeah, there's 7 or more. So yeah, once you hit past those 6, you start hitting into the pink. She starts just recovering any of them. She can have up to basically 5 extra health. Overflow. If a thug or civilian can't be add the location, add 1 thug from the pool to the Witch Trial mission. The owner's plot. Heroes lose when the Witch Trial mission is complete. Oh, cool. So you have to keep damaging her to knock her below that 7, so that way you can start actually damaging her. But it's also to keep that trial down. That's pretty cool. Alright, so let's see what her cards are. She has her starting master plan card, which was the Witch Hunt Begins. This starts face up, it said. Or just starts on the top of the deck after shuffling, so you know it's the first one you're going to get. So she doesn't move, but she starts the Witch Hunt. She adds 1 civilian thug to every location. Alright, she's already trying to overflow a couple right off as soon as she can. Alright. Then she's going to have special ones. She's going to have It Was Her All Along. She moves 3, turn all thugs into civilians. And then she places 3 thugs down. She can also place Ebony. Also moves her 3. If Agatha Harkness and the opposite location, deal 1 damage to each hero there and move 1 civilian there to the Witch Trial mission. And just place some more thugs down. Cool. Then she's going to get the rest of her cards are going to be like these. She's going to move 5, and then she's going to bam, and she's going to activate her ruins. So she is going to have 6 ruins, and then each one will have a symbol on there. So, like, when she plays this card, she's going to activate that one and this one, which is like the warding ruin. So, wherever they are on the table. So, hopefully, there's some way to deal with them, but I don't think there is. So, it's going to cause trouble. Alright, then she has another 5 movement with those 2 ruins. But she's only placing guys in like a couple of locations. 4 with those 2 ruins. Another 4 with those 2. She'll move 2. She'll move another 2. She can move 1. She can move 1. Or she can stay where she's at. Alright, let's take a look at her ruin cards. So, we have side A, which is what I'll start on. So the warding ruin says can't be cleared. When this ruin is activated until the beginning of the next villain's turn, each civilian requires 1 additional heroic to be rescued. Okay, so that's not terrible. So it's not like it's doing a bunch of damage. It's going to make them harder to rescue. It's not to change up what you do, though. We're going to look at all the side A's first. So we have Hypnotic Ruin. When this ruin is activated, till the beginning of the next villain turn, heroes must play their cards randomly. Weakening Ruin. When this card is activated until the beginning of the next villain turn, heroes treat special effects on the hero cards as blank. The Charm Ruin. When this hero is activated, if Agatha Harkness is in a location with no heroes, place 1 civilian from the pool in the Witch Trial. The Energy Ruin. When this ruin is activated, deal 1 damage to each hero anywhere. Like, that one's mean. And then it says Probability Ruin. When this ruin is activated, if Agatha Harkness is in a location with no heroes, accelerate the next villain turn by 1. Interesting. Yeah, so those are all very different. And then if she gets down to her under pressure, she flips them over to the other side. So basically what you want to do is get her under pressure as quickly as possible, so then you can start dealing with these ruins. So yeah, and then they flip over to the B side to the Warding Ruin, which says, beginning of the next villain turn, a hero enters Agatha's location. She immediately moves clockwise to the next location. So it changes from civilians to that. So then we had Hypnotic, which was must play card randomly. Now becomes heroes can't use symbols at the bottom of the previous hero card in the drawing. I like that they all change a bunch. That's actually kind of fun. Effects are blank. Becomes Weakening Ruin, which says next villain turn, heroes must ignore movement actions on their turn. The Charm Ruin, which if there are no heroes in a location, she gets a civilian. Instead, she says each hero must discard 1 card of the special effect from their hand, if any, to the bottom of their deck. Deal 1 damage to each hero. Is it each hero? Yeah. Dang. Deal 2 damage to 1 hero in Agatha Harkness location and each adjacent location. Then move these heroes 1 location away from her. And then finally the Probability Ruin. It says accelerate the villain turn. Each hero must reveal the top 2 cards of their deck. If it has 2 symbols at the bottom or a special effect, they must put it at the bottom of their deck. So very cool. So they're going to be very interesting, and you have to deal with each one. So basically, once you flip her over, you're going to want to take her down 2 things. Cleared civilians, which are cleared civilians and cleared thugs, are the only way to do it. So at that point, she's not carrying them as she's not going to get the witch trials from those cards anymore. But now she's going to start focusing on being a little bit more mean with the magic. And then now you got to try and clear all the rest of her threats. Or beat her, whichever comes first. Yeah, so that's Agatha's deck. So that's a pretty interesting, different style deck to play. Constantly fighting against that timer, basically, of the timer of her gaining more witch trial stuff. So you gotta keep clearing the civilians. You don't care about thugs as much, except you can't let them overflow. But it does make for an interesting deck. Alright, then up next, we have good old Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. So this is a brand new version. So now technically we have her as a hero as the Avenger. Which came in, I think, one of the stretch goal boxes in the first season. And then we also have her as a villain. She teams up with her brother Quicksilver as one of the Brotherhood members. So we get them as a pair of villains, but now we have her as her own solo villain. This is kind of supposed to be like the Multiverse of Madness kind of end of WandaVision Scarlet Witch. Because she's not really ever a full-on villain in the comic book. She's done stuff like House of M and Avengers Disassembled, which was kind of out of her mind at the time. But yeah, now it'd be kind of fun things. Now you could have a family matter against her. You could play as Wiccan and Speed and Magneto and Quicksilver. Quicksilver, you could play as the four of them. Even Vision. You'll have the. If you want to play a 5-player game, you can have all 5 guys out there trying to take out Scarlet Witch. Throw Wonder Man in there against her. Captain America, have her fighting against the Avengers. Or have her fight against Hope. That'd be kind of cool. Anyhow, so we have Scarlet Witch as special setup. Set aside the possessed by Chthon Master Plan card and place it on top of the deck after shuffling. So it's her starting Master Plan card. Set aside 3 cards of special effects from the deck of each hero in play. Oh, interesting. So each player starts with 3 less cards and it's your 3 special ones. So if you're playing super villains, they get one of each different type of token. What does her Master Plan do? So she has 2 health per character, same as Agatha. Although I wish Agatha used the Darkhold as a villain. That would have been kind of cool as well. Special is heroes may also damage, and they did make a spelling error. Scarlet Witch. This is supposed to be corrected in later the reprinting version, which would be the ones you'll hit retail later. But the Comic-Con ones, they did make that mess up. But it's not that big of a deal. It can also damage Scarlet Witch using heroic tokens. Each time mission is complete, each player may put one of their set-aside hero cards on top of their deck. Okay, so we got complete missions and we get one of our cards back. Each time a hero is KO'd, Scarlet Witch doesn't activate her BAM, instead move the top card of the Master Plan. Ooh, so if she KOs a hero, she's going to instead speed up her thing. Her BAM is add 1 Crisis token to the Darkhold page. Threats in Scarlet Witches and both adjacent locations. Each hero in Scarlet Witches and both adjacent locations must discard 1 card from their hand. Overflow. If 1 or more Thug civilian tokens can't be added to a location, add 1 Crisis token to the threat there. If there's no threat there, add to the first clockwise threat. Okay, so you can add Crisis tokens all over the place. In a villainous plot, the heroes lose when there are no threats left in play. Okay, so we'll have to see how that works. So she wants to place Crisis tokens on threats, and they're going to try and get rid of the threats. Each time they complete a mission, they set aside one of their hero cards. Isn't one of the missions, though, clearing threats? So you're only ever going to get 2 of your 3 cards back. Interesting. Alright, her starting Master Plan. Possessed by Chthon. As long as this card stays up on the storyline, heroes can't interact with threats in any way. There we go. So we can't even deal with them. So you're just trying to work on the thugs and civilians. And we'll have to see how that works. Her special cards she has move 5 and BAM. Broodlings of Chthon. Deal 1 damage to each hero anywhere. Dark Holders. Move 4 and BAM. Deal 1 damage to each hero location with 1 or more thugs. Reality Warping. Move 3 and BAM. Each hero must turn face down their earliest card in the storyline with a special effect. Ooh, this could really hurt characters like them healing or starting play abilities. Bending Will. Move 2 and BAM. Until the next villain's turn, heroes can't enter Scarlet Witch's location. I would say you can't enter it. So that means you'd have to go around it. I wouldn't even say you could go through her. You'd have to go around the other direction. Conjuring Dark Force. 1 move and BAM. Each hero in Scarlet Witch and both adjacent locations must discard 1 card from their hand. Scarlet Witch gains 1 health for each of these cards. They may go above starting value. Oh boy. Growing Power. 0 move and BAM. Add 1 Crisis token to each threat with no Crisis token. Just standard. 5 move and BAM. 4 move BAM. 3 move BAM. A 2 move BAM. And a 1 move BAM. Alright, so our big things are going to be her threats. So let's see what her threat cards are. We have the Darkhold page. And it looks like we have all 6 of them. So all 6 are going to be Darkhold pages. So they're going to say, when this crisis has 3 crisis tokens on it, it is cleared and Scarlet Witch gains 2 health, may go above starting value. Put 1 threat token on the cleared threats mission for both team versus team mode. Interesting. Oh, okay. So this is the way you could potentially get your 3rd card, because you only need to get, unless you're playing with like the Plan B from Guardians of the Galaxy, your normal one you only need to clear off 4 threats of the 6. So by the time 4 of these are cleared, you'll get your 3rd card, and then she'll only have 2 more to do. But that doesn't mean she might only have 2 full ones to do. She could have 1 crisis token left on each of those last 2 by the time you get it. Yeah, this definitely makes a very interesting game dynamic as well, because you're having to go around and you can't deal with the threats, but they're also not actively hurting you or doing anything. You're just ignoring the threats. There's no way to clear off crisis tokens on there, as far as I know, unless you have a card somewhere that says remove a crisis token from anywhere, but very few characters have that. You could plan for that if they do, but I don't know if that's the best strategy. But yeah, when you can also use heroics to take her out. So that does make her a little bit easier. But every time she kills a character, she's going to keep upping her master plan, trying to go through it quicker. So she can win that way as well. And then add 1 crisis goes in the Darkhold threats and Scarlet Witches in both adjacent locations. So yeah, when she bams, she's going to add basically 3. And heroes must discard cards from the hand. So it's going to make them harder to do stuff. And then if he overflows, you're also going to add a crisis token threat there instead. To the first clockwise threat. So even if it overflows in a location where there's no threat anymore, it's just going to go to the next one. So that's pretty crazy. But that's fun. So that is what we have for the Witching Hours. So a little bit longer video here, but we went through all them cool characters. But yeah, so really neat. We got 2 new villains. 2 brand new villains we hadn't seen before. An anti-hero. Plus 4 other heroes that if again, maybe you haven't picked up them sets, maybe you didn't get them at the cons, or you didn't want to pay the insane eBay prices or the Dice Tower prices for them. So here's a way for you to get 4 more characters. And again, even if you don't now because they come with miniatures, if you don't own the original ones, you have 4 other things. So even if you just pick this up, you have 5 new heroes and a villain. You could basically take the core set, pick this up, and you could play a brand new game with 2 new villains and a bunch of new heroes. I mean, the heroes obviously don't really theme well. They don't theme in the sense of like who the villains they'd be fighting are, but it's really cool that you have the option to do that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know the other promo character cards that came out were the Scream symbiote pack, hybrid symbiote pack. Which came out after this is already being made. So I don't know if that's something they'll keep doing like this in the future. If they'll keep releasing little tiny boxes like this with just a couple of characters here and there, maybe to kind of like go with some of the new current content and maybe pick up after a couple of the convention cards or characters. That'd be kind of fun. Release little like 4 or 5 character packs here and there instead of doing full-on campaigns. But who knows? Only the future will tell. So that might be all we have for Marvel United for the future till they announce the next campaign, but we always have DC United coming up in hopefully by the end of the year. See you guys later. Bye.